Well, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today's practice is about releasing tension in our hips. It's beginner friendly. All of my classes will always be beginner friendly. So I've noticed that in my own personal practice, when I feel really tight in my hips, I also feel a lot of tightness in the center of my spine. So we're going to be incorporating both of those, staying pretty low to the ground. Props that you may or may not need. You're definitely going to need a strap, a yoga strap. You can use a belt, a karate belt, anything that's strap-like. 2 blocks are optional, and a blanket. I recommend it. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun today. It's going to be very yin-like. Be prepared to slow everything down because I truly believe we need to find more moments of slowness every day. We need to find them at least 5 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is. So go ahead and make your way onto your mat and let's get started. So today, my dear friends, we are going to begin this practice lying down on your back. So make your way there, bending the knees. Walk them in pretty close to your hips. And then start to heel toe them away from each other so that they're about as wide as your mat and your knees are just tenting in towards each other. Bring both hands down to the low belly, creating a diamond shape by placing the pointer fingers together and the thumb together, extending the fingers out wide. And little by little, you're just starting to direct your breath down into that diamond shape you've created. So really allow the belly to soften and expand. Let the shoulders relax. And then you can keep your hands where you are and keep your feet where they are. And we're just going to start to windshield wiper the knees back and forth. So your exhale drops you down, inhale lifts you up, and the exhale drops you down on the other side. So we're just starting to work into the hip flexors in the front of the legs, as well as the outer hips, as well as the spine. So just do one more round on each side and then come to stillness with the knees tented in towards each other. And then we're going to do the yin version by holding this pose for a few breaths. So keep the feet where they are and let both knees fall over onto the left side. And let your legs get heavy. So it's okay if the feet start to slide away from you. Let them go wherever they need to go so that you can really find some heaviness here. So noticing right away if you're holding on to any tension in your glutes. Notice if while you're here, you're holding your breath. Try to take one more deep breath in all the way down to the low belly again. And then on your next inhale, lift the knees back up. And as you exhale, drop them down on the right side. Let your feet slide out if they need to. Let your legs get really heavy. Keep the breath moving freely throughout the body. So our hips tend to hold on to a lot of stress and tension. And our body's way of reacting to that sometimes when you're trying to release tension in the body is to hold the breath. Try to let the breath be free. Inhale the knees back up. Heel toe them in towards each other. hug the right knee in, and then draw the left knee in, and just take a minute to rock from side to side. And then you're going to roll over onto one side and push yourself up. And we're going to roll over, make your way onto all fours, tabletop. So your knees are going to be right underneath of the hips, wrists right underneath of the shoulders, finding a little bit of length in the spine. And you can uncurl the toes if you want, or you can curl them in, whichever way you feel comfortable and that you feel like you're releasing a little bit of tension. Starting to move the spine with the breath. The inhale, we're going to drop the belly down and the heart reaches forward and through as you lift the crown of the head, base of the spine. As you exhale, press the ground away, rounding the spine. Let the weight of the head hang. Inhale, back into your cow pose. And exhale into your cat pose. One more round, just like this. And this time when you exhale, round the spine, you're going to start to sink your hips back towards your heels, letting that stretch in the low back happen. And then you're going to inhale like you were diving underneath of a wave, really softly so you're not disturbing the top of the water, back into your cow pose. And exhale, rounding the spine, sinking the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, diving underneath the wave, gently coming back into your cow pose. 2 more rounds just like that. Try to find a little bit of fluidity in your movement. So no matter what shape your body is taking, if you feel like you're not where you want to be right away, wherever you are is perfect. And it's always changing every day. It's always going to look different to you. And then when we come back up into our cow pose one last time, and then come back to a neutral spine. So make sure that the wrists are underneath of the shoulders, and you're going to extend that right leg back, toes curled under, pressing through the heel. Just take one breath here. And we're going to lift that leg up and cross it behind us so it moves over onto the left side. Toes are going to stay curled under. You can still press through the heel of the foot. But we're going to make almost a C shape with the upper body as we look over our left shoulder towards our right foot. Deep breaths into that right side of the body. One more. Inhaling back to center. Cross that leg back over, bring it in. Neutral tabletop. Extending the left leg back, toes curled under, press through the heel. Lifting it up, cross it over onto the right side, press through the heel still. And then you're going to make that C shape, this time looking over the right shoulder towards the left foot and breathing deeply into the left side of your body. And back to center, lifting the leg up, come back into neutral tabletop. And then we're going to sit our hips back on our heels. Take a second to grab a blanket. Doesn't matter what your blanket looks like. Fold it however many times you need so you have a little bit of elevation of the hips. And then we're going to stretch the legs out long, sitting the hips up on to the blanket, but rotating so you're moving more towards the front of your seat. So you'll notice that my legs automatically bend when I come into some sort of forward fold. See if you can start to lengthen one out at a time. And then stretch the left leg long and draw the right knee in. We're going to cross this right leg over the left. So make sure that you don't lean onto your left hip. Try to find your center here. So both sitting bones are rooted down into the blanket, or if you're not using the blanket, just rooted into the floor. We're going to wrap the left arm around the right knee. Right fingertips are going to go back behind you, length of the spine, and just very gently, we're twisting to the right. I notice in my own practice, when I have a lot of tightness in my hips, I also have a lot of resistance in the middle of my back, right in my thoracic spine. So I try to incorporate twists in every single class I do. I love twists, but especially working on releasing tension in the hips. One more deep breath here. And as you exhale, unwinding, stretch both legs out long. And try to keep the hips really quiet so they're not shimmying. Keep them really still and just bend one leg at a time. Almost like you're pressing your foot down on a gas pedal, taking turns pressing onto the gas pedal. And then we're going to extend the right leg long, bend the left knee, cross the left foot over the right, and then we're going to wrap the right arm around the left leg, sit up nice and tall, and very slowly start to twist to the left. So really try to direct your breath in any pose that we're doing into the place in your body that you're feeling it the most. Take 2 more breaths here. And the exhale unwinds you, stretching the legs out long again. Wiggle them out. And we're going to cross the ankles and move into a little bit of a more intense hip stretch. So grab a hold of your blocks. If you don't have blocks, grab a hold of your books that you're using. And grab a hold of your blanket. So there's 2 ways that we can use the blanket. I'll show you both in a second. For now, let's just set it at the top of the mat. So come into your tabletop again. You can use the blocks here just to lift the ground up. We're going to bring the right foot forward and then heel toe it forward as far as you need. And then walk it over to the left. And then we're going to drop our knee down on the right. So already this is pretty intense. If this is as far as you go, your hips are this far in the air, be there. Don't try to rush this process. There's no need. You'll injure yourself. You'll find yourself here again. So be wherever you are. If you can start to walk that back leg back out a little bit till the hips come down on the floor. So we want to make sure that we're not leaning onto one hip or the other. We're right in the center. So for most of us, that will mean we're way up here. That's okay. That will change. And the blocks are just here to lift the ground just for the first portion of this. So deep breath here. Notice how the breath changes for you once you start to get into more challenge or into the deeper tissues of the hips. And then you can set the blocks off to the side. If you want to place this blanket underneath of the hips, if that helps with the stability, you're welcome to. Or you can fold it up a bunch of times, however much you need to walk the hands out. And you can use this pillow to let your head rest. So trying to take all of the muscles out of this. So just let yourself be heavy. This is the yin style of this pose. So we're not strengthening the muscles here. We're not lengthening. We're trying to soften in the connective tissue. Two more deep breaths here. I know it's a lot, but you're doing it. And then you're going to use your inhale to start to walk the hands very slowly in towards the body. And you're going to roll onto the right hip and take as much effort as you need. You can roll all the way over to the side, whatever you need to bring that foot forward. And just pausing for a moment here, take a deep breath in and out. And then when you're ready, we'll make our way back onto all fours, bringing that left foot forward this time. And you can use the blocks if you need to lift the floor for this beginning part. We're going to walk that foot all the way over onto the right side and drop the knee down on the left side. If you want, you can place the blanket under the hips, or you can bring it in front and not use it till the end. Walk that back leg out if that's where you're going. And I find that it helps me. I've been practicing for a long time, and I find that it helps me to lift the ground here so that I can really find some lift in the heart, lengthen the spine, and even relaxation in the shoulders. One more deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, set the blocks off to the side, start to walk the arms out. Bring the forehead to your pillow and let the body get heavy. So typically when we're releasing stress in our hips, the first place that it migrates to is our jaw. So we'll start to clench the jaw and purse the face. So we have tension around the eyes and the lips. And we hold our breath. So when I find myself in a pose like this, I go through it like that. Unclench my jaw, soften my face, deepen my breath. And I just keep that cycle moving as long as I need. One more deep breath in here. And out. Use your next inhale to walk the hands in, roll over onto the left hip, swing that foot back in front of you. And then take a moment to set all of your props off to the side and grab a hold of your strap. And we will meet again on the floor. So roll all the way down and lay flat first for a moment. And I just want you to bring your attention to your legs. So notice if one leg feels longer than the other. Or if one side of your low back is touching the floor, one side of the low back is lifted up. And then bend both legs. We're going to loop the right foot with a strap. Put the strap right on top of the ball of the foot. And then you can choose here. If you have anything going on in your low back, keep this left leg bent with the foot on the floor. Otherwise, you can extend it out long. Slide your hands down the strap as far as you need so that your shoulders can remain relaxed on the ground. And you're just pressing through the heel of the foot that's in the air and the heel of the foot that's on the floor. Taking deep breaths. Again, you're bringing it all the way down into the low belly. One more. And then we're going to grab both straps with the right hand. Turn that foot about 45 degrees from the head of the femur bone, so from the head of the thigh bone, turns out 45 degrees, outer rotation. And then we're just going to let that leg fall off onto the right side. Try to keep the left hip down on the floor. And it's okay if your leg just hangs out in space. Mine does. I usually use both hands to hold on to the strap so that I can really just let it be heavy. You're still pressing through the heel of both feet. So you're getting a lot of length in the inner thighs here. The inner hips. Just take 2 more deep breaths here. On your next inhale, lifting the foot back up. This time grab both straps with the left hand. We're going to cross it over, so we're coming onto the left hip. The right hip stacks on top of the left. So if foot comes all the way to the floor. Then we take our right arm, full range of motion all the way back behind us. Again, it's okay if it doesn't touch the floor right away. That's where we're going, it's where we're headed, but we're not really in a hurry to get there. And you can probably find that if you just deepen the breath. So deepen your inhale, and every exhale you relax a little bit more into the pose. The right palm is faced up, so you're maintaining that outer rotation of the shoulders, keeping the heart really open. Just take 2 more breaths here. First, we're going to take the right arm and bring it all the way back so our body's stacked. We're almost in fetal position. Use your inhale, lift the leg back up. And then release it. Let the strap hang out for a minute and extend both legs long. And again, bringing your attention down into the legs. And notice if already one side of the body feels longer or more relaxed than the other. When you're ready, bending both knees, loop the left foot with the strap, send it up, and you can choose to keep that right knee bent. If you have low back problems, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, you can send the leg out long, pressing through the heel of both feet. Don't forget that breath. Two more. So we're remembering too, when we're here, when we're in any pose, we're never locking joints. So don't press your knee back so far. Your leg doesn't need to be so straight that your knee is locked. That prohibits energy from flowing freely. We always want to keep it supple and buoyant. Grab both straps with the right or the left hand. Turn that leg about 45 degrees first, outer rotation, and then let the leg fall over onto the left side. You can let it hang out in space if you want. Keep the right hip moving towards the floor. And then deep breaths to wherever you're feeling this. Last deep breath in and out here. And then we use our inhale to lift our leg back up. Switching hands to bring both straps into the right hand. We're going to cross that leg over the body. Roll over onto the right hip completely. Let the leg fall all the way down to the floor. Once you're settled here, You can use full range of motion with the left arm, letting that arm come all the way out to the side. Palm is facing up. Relax any tension in the legs, the glutes, the belly, the jaw, the face, the shoulders, and then strengthen the breath. Last 2 breaths here. As you inhale, rolling back over onto your side, and use the inhale to bring the foot back up to the sky, releasing the strap. Set it off to the side. Draw both knees in towards the body and gently rock from side to side. Place the feet down. And then bring the soles of the feet together. It doesn't matter how close your feet are to your hips. You can bring them out wide if you want, or you can bring them closer in. And you're just going to let your knees fall out like a butterfly. Finding that diamond shape with the fingers again, the pointer fingers touching, the thumbs touching. Together, we're just going to take 3 deep breaths all the way down into that diamond shape. Last deep breath in here. And as you exhale, you're going to let your body just completely soften here for a moment. Feel free to stay here as long as you want, or you can gently bring the knees in towards each other. That's quite an intense inner hip stretch. You can extend the legs out long and let everything soften. Just let everything feel heavy. No muscular engagement at all. And give yourself however much time you want, but at least a couple of minutes to just be here. No to-do list. No worries. And thank you so much for showing up and practicing with me today. It means so much to me. Please remember to slow down at least once a day, or really anytime you get the chance. Slow it all down. Namaste.